crap.
Renato felt worse. All his joints were aching now. He'd been through beatings that felt better than this.
Yep.
So the core had a kind of poison that could harm you without even touching you. That's new. Well, it had power. The rebellion needed something with power. And how was this any worse than a sword wound? Well, a death by sword was sudden and fair.
Yep.
This was just squalid. A piecemeal death, like old age.
Oh my god, it's so
You couldn't
dark.
go sticking jewels in your gauntlet just anywhere. What if you dropped one and broke it? Luckily, there was a bench right here.
Yeah. Yeah, I hate this part.
These were no ordinary cannonballs. One thing, ordinary cannonballs were black. Renato wondered if it wasn't cheaper to build bridges and stairs.
Oh, how far are we? So die. Okay, we're there. Lapino, you bastard.
The observatory was a burning hulk. Dead scientists everywhere. Renato found the mad rabbit cowering under a desk. The ravens, they must have known we were coming, said Lapino. How did you... Well, see, I was doing a card trick with my lucky deck, and I kind of bobbled the cards, so I went under the desk to gather them up, and boom! I guess we'll have to take the car straight to the secret base. Renato wasn't sure he believed that, but Lapino was talking so fast. He always seemed to make sense. The secret rebel base. Yes. They had engineers there. But wait. Calaveras, the sage in the mountains. Maybe he would know what to do with the naked core. Ah, yes.
Yeah.
The secret base. Not even Lapino knew where it was. They had engineers there. Those toads would surely know what to do with the core's power, and then he'd be free of it. But he couldn't take Lapino. The core would work its evil on him too. You stay here. Give me the coordinates. I'll meet you there. Lapino seemed awfully anxious to have the coordinates of the secret rebel base. Someone needs to bury these scientists. Well, why do I get all the fun jobs? And with that, Renato returned to the Farfarer and took off.
Alright, let's see how this ending has us. Let's say
the ruins were quiet, but Renato could hear a buzzing in his ears. Was it bugs? Or was it the core slowly feeding him poison? The council would know what to do. If the core had this much power, it could surely change the terms of the great battle that was coming. And maybe they would take this burden from him. Maybe.
He's gonna end bad, that's nice.
Smells burnt fur. His. He missed her. Not Zenobia. Hypatia, the kid's mother. Renato had never thought he'd date a librarian. He'd always figured himself for the barmaid type. But then, he'd never figured the library of Ubar would have comic books, or that Hypatia would know anything about them. He missed her.
Vamos a ver la Pino story.
Renato checked to make sure his sword was still working. Yep. Had left the Pino behind because the core was poisoned. The core was poisoned because he didn't have the armature. He didn't have the armature because he'd rescued Lapino. Ooh, Renato's head hurt.
Let's see how they has in this crossover. Just go straight to the base.
Renato wondered what would happen if he jumped. Would he be rescued by an emergency platform? This chest contained a Vorpal sword. I'm just kidding. Vorpal swords don't exist.
I'll say, let's screw us over again. You know we had to go to sciences.
better dead, Renato thought. I'll just have a dash, thought Renato.
Oh my god. Okay, so
How had it come to this? Renato had signed on as an adventurer. Sure, the Emperor had gone mad. Sure, Renato had heard horrors from the ghosts of dead kittens and puppies sacrificed in his blasphemous rituals. But when he jumped in, he'd only been a little bored and slightly broke. And here he was, carrying a bucket of death across a broken landscape. Why not drop it and run? Because he hated to quit in the middle. That was his fatal flaw. He had to know how it all turned out.
Say goodnight, Gracie, said Renato, wondering who Gracie was.
The long stairs. So he was close to the rebel base. It was on fire. So far, so good. dropped the core at the entrance to the council chambers.
Get that thing out of here!
Croaked the speaker.
It's making us sick!
That's the core of the Sky Ripper, said Renato.
That's not useless at all,
Said an engineer toad.
it's poisonous. Look at the fox. He's ill, probably dying.
Yeah, not useless at all, said Renato. So what do I do? Rub it on His Majesty? The engineer chuckled. Renato didn't like it when engineers chuckled.
Oh, I got it. Listen, I can make a bomb that spread bits of the core all over a circle about 100 paces wide. Little chunks of poison and death. All you have to do is just get it near the Emperor. It'll kill him and his bodyguard and chop off the head of the fleet. Yeah, and if we're lucky, might poison some of the ravens around there as well.
What about me?
Right, what about you? Well, I'll build in a timer. You can set it and run.
No, that's a horrible idea, said Renato.
Well, we have to do something, yes?
Said the speaker.
This is something.
Renato couldn't argue with that. And so, reluctantly, Renato loaded the rigged core onto the Farfarer.
Let's finish this.
Set sail towards the Emperor's ship. The rebels took the fight to the Imperial fleet. But Renato was too sick to enjoy the view. He must have passed out as a firm hand grabbed him and shoved him forward. This was it.
Alright, let's see how it ends. I wonder what Albina's gonna do to us.
The fleet seemed very big, and its ravens very tough. Or maybe he was just slower and weaker than before. He hated the idea of poisoning the enemy. It wasn't fair. Face to face with a raven, let the best swordsman survive. But they wouldn't even know what was killing them. Feather by feather, scale by scale. He didn't mind dying a hero. That sometimes went with being a hero. Yet he didn't feel at all like a hero. Not today. The portal was heavily guarded. It must go someplace they really didn't want it to go.
Alright, we're almost done. After this, we're still gonna stop playing.
There was an engraving. Maximum capacity, 130 people.
No, I know that we're not gonna betray it, but I was gonna do his story because for some reason it's like motivated for him. And I think it's a new one in the set.
He was exhausted. He was making stupid mistakes. His fur was coming off in bunches. Up ahead, you could see the Emperor's ship, long and sleek, a floating palace. The bomb would only poison a circle 100 paces wide. He would get as close as he could, set it, and run. Oh, this was a lousy way to win a rebellion, he thought. He didn't want a medal for this. He just wanted to be forgotten. He's hit, he thought.
Oh, so close. Hey, a win is a win, Nardo. I will take every win I can, even if they do something dirty.
Renato twisted the timer on the bomb as far as it would go and staggered off. His knees hurt. Oh, everything hurt. He staggered away as far as he could until he had to lie down. He could see the entire Imperial fleet from here, and the rebel ships engaged with it. There was a blinding flash. And a second later, a monstrous thump. Burning rocks arced across the sky over both fleets. A wreath of fire shot outwards, rolling across the fleets. A pillar of smoke boiled up from where the Emperor's ship had been. It reached into the clouds. That's a wee bit more than 100 paces, thought Renato. It took Renato most of that evening to die. Some of the toughest ravens lasted all week. Some of the rebels in the furthest ships survived as much as a month. That winter, with neither Empire nor rebels to rule them, the islands slid into banditry. And so began the Second Age of Darkness. He should go back to some of the choices he'd faced before.
Oh shit.
Maybe there were new paths that had opened up. Like those doors he was opening up all over the map that took him to new treasures and around his enemies. And he hadn't learned anything new this time. He'd done the same thing twice, yet expected a different outcome.
Anyways, that'll be it for today, guys. See you guys. I love you all.